Bad Batch is a spin-off and a sequel to the animated fan favorite Star Wars The Clone Wars show, which many people said saved the prequels and kept Star Wars around for over a decade. Being settled during the Clone War between episode 2 and 3, this show gave us insights into many different aspects of the war, reaching from political intrigues to the Jedi, struggling to maintain the Jedi way, to stay peacekeepers.
We are peacekeepers.
The Clone War also showed us the human side of its eponymous soldiers, the in the films barely examined and disposable CGI army, the clones. Very special clones in this case. The Elite Clone Force 99, aka the Bad Batch, already had its first appearance in the last Clone Wars season, and absolutely nobody back there asked for a whole show about them. But it turns out they conquered many of their problems.
Our squad's nothing but trouble.
The Bad Batch tells the fate of an elite clone force directly after the Clone War and the end of the Republic. The Bad Batch itself is therefore mostly used as a connection of story arcs from characters which we already know from the Star Wars universe. We therefore get to see many cameos and a broad background knowledge of how the galaxy and their institutions change under the rule of a new empire. We get to see the transformation of the system and the restructurization of the Republic Army, how the ultimate evil strengthened its power under the veil of peace and prosperity.
With the Jedi decimated, Palpatine will have control over the entire galaxy.
And also interesting teases on how Palpatine could return after his death.
Mistress Nala Se, welcome. We are all admirers of your scientific talents. The Empire has big things planned for you.
The Bad Batch themselves are often more in the background of the story than important key characters. They struggle to find their way in this new hostile environment and must protect a mysterious female clone from its Kaminoan creators, who seem not to bother with casualties in order to secure their own projects and survival.
A scientist I have use for. A politician I do not.
Overall, it is what it was announced as from the beginning, a spin-off and not a continuation of the Clone Wars. So it can allow itself not to cover the important rescue of the galaxy again, but explore the Star Wars universe and their inhabitants a little more. And it does a great job on this. But despite some small side quests, the show doesn't seem to focus on its titular group. I've heard many people complaining about the numerous filler episodes and the missing overall plot, but I would rather say The Bad Batch is actually a show about these fillers, about mercenary missions, and mercenaries are rarely making their own decisions. Hunter, Wrecker, Echo, Tech and Crosshair are more used as a connecting frame story or alibi in order to continue or set up already existing storylines. Overall, this show lies much emphasis on world building and character development over a purposeful linear story.
Protect myself. The galaxy's a dangerous place to be on your own.
A month before the release of the first episodes, I made 2 videos on things we want and don't want to see in the show. And I must say they did a pretty good job with the opportunities they had. Despite some monotone mercenary episodes, we get to see many cameos of interesting characters, and they also close some plot holes. For example, how Gregor ends up with Rex in Rebels. They even managed to handle previously annoying characters.
I don't want to hurt you, but I can't have you getting in the way.
You're the one in my way.
Yeah. One of the points that bothered me the most in Rebels and also in the Mandalorian show was that enemy troopers are almost never a real threat to the protagonists. Even if they appear in high numbers, they always just act as bullet sponges to hop from one action scene into another, without much tactic required to outsmart them. In The Bad Batch, the antagonists still represent a real threat to the main crew, and also require some tricks to deal with them. They show us that simply starting to shoot doesn't solve the problem, as Wrecker impressively presents us many times. But what I'm really missing in the show is the determination of the creators. It really feels as if they are scared of absolute decisions. I know the show focuses more on the younger audience, but literally every character who dies just doesn't. That's not even a spoiler, they just get by every time. And that just destroys the tension when you realize that nothing bad will happen. I mean, it's no problem when you don't want to kill off your main characters like it was Game of Thrones. But then don't lethally injure them literally every episode. But besides these issues, the show is definitely worth seeing for Star Wars fans. The Clone Wars animation style is visually and technically state of the art, and the humor is, let's say, not cringe.
Before you see my ugly side.
That's not her ugly side.
What was that, Goggles?
And even though its atmosphere turns slightly darker than the one of the Clone Wars, it still suits a child-friendly setting and action.
A bounty hunter's after Omega. We need to find out why. Our position has been compromised. Stay casual.
Oh, no, you don't!
Hunter, Tech. That's not comforting.
The Bad Batch. New episodes now streaming only on Disney+.